So nam aloha, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. And if you can put your name and where you're logging in from, that would be great if you feel called to do that. And I want to say happy false fake New Year, because energetically this is not the real New Year. We all, a lot of us are finding out now how fake and artificial our world is, and we've been following this false calendar for a long time, and now it's time to embrace the energy, right? The energetic New Year. So according to human design, that's when the sun moves into the 41st hexagram, and that's January 22nd. And then we've got to look at the spring equinox too, right? The new moon in Aries. So don't get too focused on, pushing forward in your resolutions, because we're in the shadow pattern of struggle. So you're not going to be supported, right, with this new energy. Okay, so I want to talk about the full moon today, and then this secretion to help us claim the gift. So if you could put like too on my channel, that helps support me and my work. Okay, so let's look at the images here. Okay, so there is the full moon as of January 6, 2023. So if you don't know human design and you want to know your chart, there's always put the information in the information box where you can get your free chart. So it's a good idea, if you follow my channel, is to have your own natal chart. So it's just like astrology, but it's a lot deeper than just Western astrology. So there's the full moon, right? And so we have to look at here. There's the moon, and it's in the 53, right there, 53.2. You can see my little, I'm hoping you're going to see my mouse here. It's down here off the root chakra. That's the bottom center there, the 53. Do you see that? It's 53.2. So I just want to remind people before I get into this, especially the people that are new to my channel, this is really about our evolution. This is not about bolstering up your ego at all. This channel is not about that at all. In fact, it's the opposite, right? It's to really bolster up your authenticity. This is what human design is all about. In a nutshell, is about you being yourself. That's what you can count on. That's what you have to rely on as we move into this new age of Aquarius, right? Is our authenticity. That's what you can count on. So let me just flip around here. Okay, so this is our evolutionary process, right? We've moving from physical awareness, okay, experiencing life only through the physical. Some people are still trapped in that awareness. And then we've moved into the mental awareness system, right? Experiencing the world and life through our mind. And now we're evolving past this, transcending past the mind into the emotional awareness system. So our emotions are very important. If you watch my last video, I did a quick little overview about that, about the solar flares, right? Triggering our emotions. So now it's about feeling our way through life, not thinking our way through life, but feeling our way through life. And this is the solar plexus right here, this brown center here, the area of our emotional, right? This is the second brain. So this is going to go through a mutation, a huge mutation, a solar plexus mutation in 2027, and that opens up spirit awareness, right? So actually experiencing our life, that we're all connected, right? With the mind is separation. We see people as separate from us. We see ourselves separate from nature. That's going to all change. So that's what we're moving into. And this is what we're seeing out in the world, this emotional body getting stirred up of humanity. So the pathway of awareness, right? We're going back to the origins. We're going back from the physical to the mental to the emotional into frequency vibrational awareness. That's spirit awareness. Experiencing life through frequency, through vibration of who we truly are, right? We're spiritual beings having human experiences. This is the timelessness, timeless, our eternal self, right? It's frequency vibrational. So this is what we're moving through. But you can see here the emotional body is that 0 to 7-year-olds, right? This is in our childhood development. That's where all the emotional imprinting happened. And this is what we've got to clear up, right? This is what's happening on the earth plane now, right? People are going to get more and more and more emotional, and they're not going to be able to suppress and repress their emotions any longer. It's just going to, it's a pressure that's building, right? So this is a good idea to do this emotional and shadow work, right, during this time. So you can see here, right, to get to the spirit awareness, the only way through is that emotional body, and a lot of paths are saying the same thing. We're evolving through our emotional body. This is the new frontier. Okay, so that's the reminder. So if you leave with anything, maybe you're about to log off and go to another shiny, distracting thing on YouTube, please leave with this one message. It's like when in doubt in your life and you're confused, go to how do I feel about this, and actually feel and experience your emotional self. And this way you'll grow and evolve, right? Okay. So back to this. So this is the transits. It's just like astrology. This is the transits. So what I would want to say about the transits with the 53, right? You see the 53. This is the focus, and it's the emotional drive, right? For this full moon is the 53. So with the transits, it's like a program, right? It's like a program that is directing humanity. Okay? So it's just happening, and people who are unconscious are just going to go along with the program. But you need to remember, and I haven't reminded people of this very much, is if you go to your natal chart, you've got the red side, which is your unconscious, and then in the black side, which is what you're conscious of, right? With the transit chart, it's just the black. There's no red. This is your natal chart. So you can see this person has 56.6. So this is the shadow of distraction. It's the gift of enrichment. It's the gate of stimulation. So this is what drives this person. That's authentic to this person, right? So you can see that, okay, well, 56 and 53, they're different, right? So it's just to remember that. It's like to use the transits. Okay, I'm in this transit and I'm going to go with this energy and how it's going to serve me. If it's correct for me, right? Remember, you're on your own unique path. You're on your own unique spiritual journey. It's not about going with the herd in the crowd, in the collective, but you can ride on this energy. So it's important to go back to your strategy and authority. That's all in my recorded readings about what's correct for you. So just keep that in mind, okay? It's like, oh, I'm feeling this transit, but it's not my authentic self. But I'm aware of, that I have the gate of stimulation, right? I have the gate of stimulation there. And here I have the gate of development, 53. Well, I'm going to use it, but I know it's not mine, right? But I'm going to use it for this full moon energy. Okay, so the 53, let's get into the 53 here, is the gate of beginnings. So do you see the root chakra, right? That's a pressure. The root chakra, that's a pressure point right there. And that's to begin something new. It's about beginning something new. So you can see how you could get into trouble here, right? The full moon, the energy and the programming that's around me, the conditioning field that I'm in, this information field that I'm in, is telling me to begin something new, begin a pressure to begin something new, begin something new. But if it's not correct for you, right? So you have to really tune in, like what's correct for me and what's not. What do I want to begin, right? This is about cycles of experience, this 53, right? Cycles of experience. And it's about getting into our own natural rhythm, right? I've been really getting the strong message over the holidays is get away from the artificial world, get away from the artificial world and come back into our natural state, right? And I talked about this in my newsletter. The moon affects the tides, the ebbs and flow of the tides. It affects growth and decay. Why would it not affect us as humans too? Because we're part of nature, right? This mind, this mental awareness system that we're all in, right? We believe that we're separate from nature when that's not true, right? So this is a real time to like come into your own natural cycles, right? Not this artificial 7-day work, 7-day week, and this 9-to-5 grind, and maybe it's not aligned with your own natural rhythms, right? It's about it's like withdrawing from this system, this artificial system. It's not authentic to us as humans. Okay, so let's talk about this ego quickly. So this is the non-self, right? So human design is all about being your authentic self. This is like the snapshot of you. The snapshot of you. This is what you can count on. This is what's you. So what we're learning is discernment. This is not authentic to me. This is authentic to me. This discernment, this frequency, remember frequency and vibration, is not authentic to me. These people are not authentic to me. This job is not authentic to me. This place of living is not authentic to me. It's coming closer and closer to your authenticity. That's what you can count on. That's your vibration. So it's really, you got to know your vibration. You got to know your frequency. Right now, it's really important. And this is an awesome tool, right? It's human design. It's for this time that we're in right now. Okay, so the non-self, that's the conditioning. That's the conditioning in the non-self. It's this ego. This is the false self. Okay, so this is the voice in your head that came in strong when you were 7 years old. Remember, we were in the emotional awareness developmental stage from 0 to 7, and then we moved into the mental. So that happened about 7 years old, and that's when that ego came in really strong, right? And that's the voice in your head. This is the false self that you believe is you, right? We're letting go of this ego, like we're weaning ourselves even off the ego too. So the ego is going to keep you from your true power, from your authenticity, because it's all about survival. Right? I got to go along to get along, that kind of thing, right? So it's always pulling you away from your authentic self. And it keeps you in this illusion of separation, right? It's your false self. So with the shadow, when I'm sharing with you today, what is it saying about this 53, this voice in your head? And again, you got to discern, like, is that voice in my head, is that truly me? Right? Or do I need to go into the deeper self where my insights are coming from? That's my authenticity, right? This ego is like a yammering voice in the head. It's really, really loud. You've got to quiet yourself, right? You got to spend time alone with yourself. You got to get to know yourself, especially if you're a generator and manifesting generator. Out of all the human design types, you are the ones that have to know yourself. Like really, what's me and what's not me. And this is your enemy right here, generators, is this voice in your head, the mind. You've got the most conditioned mind out of all the types, right? That you've got to deal with this mind. So what's the 53 shadow says? Well, it's a shadow of immaturity, right? And so this is immaturity. This is spiritual immaturity. Remember that we're growing up. We're spiritually developing. We're becoming into our spiritual adulthood, right? This is spiritual immaturity. So this is not being aware of your environment and you see yourself separate from nature. This is what the shadow ego is telling you. You don't see the consequences of your actions, words, and thoughts that are rooted in fear. Right? So in victim, basically, not taking responsibility for what have I created, what's in my field right now. Well, you have had a hand in that, right? And this is immaturity. It's being a spiritual child, a toddler. It's like, it's all happening to me. It's all random. It's like, no, you're part of it. You're not separate from creation. The victim doesn't want to hear that. And then fear of getting trapped in a cycle. Remember, this is all about cycles of experience, this 53, because you don't want to face yourself, right? So I want to avoid myself. I want to run away, you know? There's somebody here on the island, and she's like constantly, like, she's got tons and tons of money, so she can do this, like, moving here, moving there, to all these different places, wasting like millions of dollars, right? Coming back. Now I'm restless. I gotta go somewhere else. And it's all about avoiding facing yourself, right? Staying put in one place. Like, this is the shadow. Don't get trapped in this cycle, right? Always keep moving on so you don't have to face yourself. But wherever you go, there you are, you know? That famous book. So you may get obsessed with reincarnation and past lives. And this is all about projecting the mind out of the present moment, right, to the past lives and my future life and what it's going to be. It's avoiding reality, right, this 53, and not honest about who I am. That's the shadow. So what's the fear, right? Every fear or every shadow has a fear. It's the fear of non-existence. That I won't exist anymore. That's the ego, right? The ego identity. And of course you exist. You're a spiritual being that was never born and will never die. You go on and on and on and on. That's the ego, fearing annihilation, right? That's where that fear is coming from. So, and also the belief pattern is prosperity is all, because it's connected with this 53, right? This 53 here. You see off the root chakra. You can't see that number there, but that's the 54, right? These are programming partners. The sun is in the 54, and the earth is in the 53, and the moon is in the 53, right? So the sun and earth are always opposite, but they're programming partners. This is the shadow of greed. This is the shadow of greed here. So it's all about prosperity. So the belief is that prosperity is collecting material things and money. That's what prosperity is, right? And we know that's not true. As spiritual beings having human experiences, our prosperity is far grander than that, like little material things out in the world. Of course, that supports us, but we know prosperity, our relationships, our soul purpose, that gives meaning, right? And then the belief is you're not connected to the collective, that you're separate. And that's what the ego is all about, keeping you separated and isolated. So that's the shadow. So with shadow work, it's just about awareness. That's all it is. It's all about awareness. I see it. Oh, I see that I'm believing this ego that's telling me these lies. That's the lower frequency shadow pattern. And what do? You get mature, right? This is maturity, expansion. I expand my perspective. I expand the limits of what this ego is telling me who I am and what I'm capable of. And then I just see it. It's like just putting the light of awareness. There it is. I see it. As soon as you see it, it starts to transmute. As soon as you feel it, and it could be visceral in the body or emotional, right? Or mental, those thoughts. I experience my emotions that come up around this shadow pattern, because this is ancestral, right? All this purification work that we're doing, it's all ancestral too, right? Our ancestors made some really bad choices, right? Choosing from this shadow, right? So instead of expanding, right, holding on, staying in their comfort zone, kind of not trusting the divine, right? So so you just see it, you feel it, I experience the emotions that are coming up. That's it. And it starts to transmute, it starts to move. That's the power of you as a spiritual being and your awareness expanding. So that's the big word, is expansion. That's the gift here. Okay? So spirit awareness, look what happens to that little ego, right? It becomes smaller and smaller as your awareness grows. This is you. Right? I'm limited by the image that I can use, but that's the best one I could find, is you in relationship to this little tiny ego, instead of the reverse, right? Where the ego is like dominating you. You as a spirit dominate the ego. So what do you do here with the gift? With the transmutation starts to happen, frequency starts to rise. Well, you expand beyond your comfort zone, right? This is the lies of the New Age community, right? It's like follow your bliss, they promise comfort. Just chant this mantra or do this magical thinking, and then everything will. Then you're gonna be enlightened. It's like, no, you got to earn it. You know that if you've been on the path for a while. It's all about getting uncomfortable. It's about embracing your discomfort. That's where the growth is. Right? And shadow work, I know it. I make it sound really easy, right? Just bring your light of awareness and blah, but you got to experience it, and that's uncomfortable. But it passes through, right? You don't live there. It's just something that you're doing. It's like things you don't like doing, cleaning, cleaning the fridge. I don't enjoy cleaning the fridge, but you got to do it. You just roll up your sleeves and then you just do it. Well, the shadow work is like that, right? The payoff is huge, this expansion of awareness. So embrace that when your discomfort. Don't run away from it. It's a trap, right? It's a total trap of the ego in this in these shadow patterns. So also knowing without a doubt that life is expansion. The universe is expanding. We're expanding constantly, even if it seems to be contracting. In the last couple months, I've really felt this contraction, because it's only preparing us to expand into a whole new direction. So it's like the bow, right? The bow and the arrow. Pull, back, uncomfortable, contraction, so you can launch forward into a whole new direction. That's this gift of expansion. And then you trust life without the opinion, judgment, attachment, and fear. And what's that? That's this guy, right? That voice in your head that you think is you, right? With all the commentating on everything. This is going wrong. This is bad. You shouldn't have done that. Blame, complain. Expansion is like everything's perfect. There's nothing to fix out here, right? All the change starts from within. And expansion is transcending and including. And I love that. Transcending and including. It's not about burning bridges and running away. It's about including that and transcending it. So for an example is don't make your past wrong. Oh, I made so many mistakes. I was in this relationship and I did this job, and why did I do that? I made a big mistake. I don't want to make a mistake again. It's include your experiences, right? All of your experiences have brought you to this present moment, right? So you don't make it wrong. You just include it, but you're expanding beyond that. Right? These are just details of your life, these experiences, right? You're learning and growing on Earth School. Yeah, I really like that. And then you're aligned with the universal law of abundance, and you're replenished and expanded as needed, right? So it's trusting that the divine will provide you with the resources that you need for your spiritual journey, right? That's unique to you. Don't be comparing yourself to other people, right? It comes as needed. So the hoarding, right? That's the shadow of greed. I have to hoard and hold and hold. And then people are so in that right now. It's all about fear. It's trusting that it comes when it needs to come as required. And then your awareness expands outside of the form. So this is what the solar plexus is coming, right? The solar plexus awareness is our awareness is kind of inside us as an individual, while it's expanding beyond even our physical form, beyond our aura, where we'll be able to experience one another. We'll be able to share awareness with other people. So this is going to be really scary for people that have not done this work, right? Not done their emotional work, because they're going to be feeling other people, right? Feeling their emotions as well as their own emotions. It can be very, very overwhelming. What's me and what's the other person, Okay. So let's look at some questions for you to contemplate for this full moon. And it's, the full moon, the new moon is a good time to just stop and reflect. That's what the moon is telling us, is to reflect, right? It reflects the sun. The sun represents the identity and the self. And it's the full moon is a time to really, just rest. Don't be busy, go with the to-do list. It's just like take some time. That's what the moon is saying, to pause. Just take a little pause to reflect. So is there something in your life that you've outgrown, right? Are you holding on tightly to an opinion, an identity, a vision, or a worldview? And well, it's time to let that go, right? It's time to let that go and to expand. And are you isolating yourself off from the world and isolating yourself from new experiences? Which I did a tarot reading. It's so funny that this matches up. Funny, weird. So do you often begin things and never complete them? That's the shadow here too. Have you outgrown a part of your life? Do you see how it's about spiritual development? As a child, you don't wear the same clothes. Like physically, you're growing, you're expanding your physical form. It's the same thing with our experiences, right? In certain relationships, maybe not the relationship itself, but dynamics, old dynamics that you've been in. You're going to be shown this full moon, right? It's going to be illuminated for you. It's like, oh, this is so old. I can smell the mothballs off this, right? This maybe people-pleasing dynamic that I've been in, or making myself small so other people can feel good about themselves. Like whatever it is, it will be shown to you. And it's like, I'm ready to let this go and just be my authentic self, right? Not looking for the approval of others. And are you afraid to let go, right? Am I afraid to let go? So what are you letting go of? You're surrendering the mind. This is what human design is teaching. Is this, right? This is the mind, the crown chakra in the mind, is letting go of giving authority over to the mind, right? And that's why the recorded readings really help, because it gives you your authority, what your authority is based on your unique chart. Right? So letting go of giving your authority over to your mind. And if you weren't afraid to expand, what might you expand into? Really look at that, right? Because the full moon's in Cancer too, so it's double dose of emotions, right? The moon rules Cancer anyway. So looking at home, it's very internal, right? That's rules the fourth house. It's really about going within. If I weren't afraid to expand, what would I, right? And not let the ego in there with all the excuses, right? All the excuses why you can't do something. Just allow it. Allow the illumination to happen. Allow your soul to speak to you, right? Okay, so that's the shadow. And then I did a tarot just before I hopped on. So this is fresh. And prayed over the cards and everything too. So this is where we are, the Seven of Pentacles. Okay, and the block here is the King of Pentacles, and then the ego card is stuck. And what's crowning the reading, like spiritually, is the Hanged Man, and what the foundation is the Four of Cups, and then this is the action. Right, which is a very negative card. So you can see a lot of pentacles here, right here, and one major arcana. So right away, it's about money, right? Money and material resources. Okay, so let's look at, and then we'll tie it in with this 53. So this is about, you can see him, right? He's looking at what he's been investing in. It's like a long-term view. It's like waiting. I feel like we've been waiting, haven't we? Right? During this time. So are you investing your energy and your time in the right activities? Right? So that question has been coming up. And are you progressing towards your goals? Right? It's all about long-term long-term success. I'm investing my energy in the right thing. Remember, the currency isn't the money, the pieces of paper and the coins. It's really and generators and manifesting generators need to know this. It's really their energy. That's the true currency. So this is about letting go of something that's maybe failing. And failing not in the sense of like, it's failing, this is bad, and success is good. The failing is more, it doesn't have life anymore. We want to be choosing things that are alive in our life, and that means that have energy. This is why you have to really know frequency now. What has energy? There's something that has energy in your life right now, right? And recognizing the futility of something. Maybe you've been trying to resurrect something, and it's dying. You can feel it. If you go inside, it's like there's no energy for this anymore. There's no energy for this job anymore. There's no energy for this relationship anymore. I can feel it, and I'm trying to force it, right? Force it to stay alive. Meanwhile, depleting, right? Depleting your resources, depleting your prana, right? So looking at the material, like what's around you right now. So doing that. And so you want to look at with the Seven of Pentacles is, what am I investing in, right now? What am I investing my time and energy, and does it have life, right? Does it have life? So meanwhile, he's looking, he's like, oh, I only have one coin here, right? There's all these other coins, but I'm only receiving one coin here. So it's about evaluation. So this is ruled by Saturn in Taurus, right? So Saturn's very responsible. That fits with this expansion and spiritual development, getting clear on the long-term view, because 2027 is coming faster and faster, right? So you'll be getting information, right? It's from your soul, through dreams, through intuition, through insights on where to put your energy. Okay. So then let's look at should we go to the block next? Let's go to the foundation. What's underneath it all? And this makes sense, right? There's the Four of Cups. So you can see he's a little bit obstinate. See, his arms are crossed. And what he's looking at are those three empty cups, right? He's not looking. Look at the divine. The divine is like, look over here. There's a full cup over here. And he's like, no, I'm looking at those. This is the glass is half empty, glass is half full. It's about missed opportunities, not seeing what's in front of you, right? So back to the Seven of Pentacles. What has life? What has energy? And the cups are emotional. Like, what has emotional energy for me? What opportunities are coming to me? What is the divine bringing to me? And get your eyes off the three empty cups. That's what you're going to be leaving behind. You've already had the experience. It's time to move on now. So you want to look at this opportunity, right, in your life, right? And you want to have gratitude, because we're talking pentacles here, right? So that's one of the laws of prosperity, is to be grateful for what you have and what's coming to you. Don't be looking there, those three empty cups. So how can you create more space, right? Expansion. I'm expanding. How can I create more space so I can really expand? What do I need to let go of? What maybe there's there's false, especially if you're a projector, right? If you're getting a false invitation that's not really aligned with you, it's not a high quality invitation. What do you need to decline? And your no is very powerful as a projector, because that no means the yes is going to be really, really strong for you, right? It's about not compromising. Yeah. So notice what's in front of you now, right? So that's the foundation of the reading. So again, it's getting in touch with your frequency and your emotions are going to guide you, right? Right now, let's look at the block here. So the King of Pentacles, right? That's the block. So how is the King of Pentacles the block? Well, that's what's covering it, right? Is that ego. So the block is to gain finances, right? Worrying about finances, about the future. Maybe you're a parent. Maybe you've got dependents, because the king is in charge of other people too. He has dependents. How can I provide financially for other people, right? And then to look at what wealth and abundance means to you. Yeah, and there could be a lack of direction, because this is a block, right? Lack of direction, and not taking action, right? Not taking action on what you need to do to move forward. It's all about stabilizing, right? Uranus is in Taurus. It's about stabilizing yourself materially, but letting go of wants and needs. There's a difference between wants and needs. I want this. Well, why do you want this? If I look deeper, I'm trying to impress my parents, right? If I look at that, then that's just a want, right? That's just an ego want. And how you know it's the ego is once it gets it, it's never satisfied. It's in this cup energy. It's like not grateful, right? It wants the next thing. It wants the next thing. So it's about maturity, right? This expansion. So really looking at what abundance means to you and getting clear on that, right? So this is a reflection time, because here we have up top the spiritual. What's crowning it is the hangman, and that's pause. That's what the full moon is saying, is to pause and look at things from another perspective, right? He's upside down, and he's got the halo. That's enlightenment. It's like, I'm going to look at this from this angle. I've been so fixated from looking at life through this angle, which is maybe not looking through your own two eyes, but looking through your conditioning, right? What the world is telling me what success is and what prosperity is, right? What my parents taught me, what my culture's taught me, my religion's taught me. I'm going to look through my own two eyes, right? And look at it from a whole new perspective. Yeah. So this is about waiting and taking pause, right? Taking pause for this full moon. Yeah. Okay. And this is saying too, and what's the ego? This is the ego trap. What's the ego telling you is stuck, right? That you're stuck, right? You're in this hangman position. I'm stuck. I want to move forward. Nothing's moving in my life. There's no change happening. That's the ego's perspective of this hangman energy. And the hangman energy is the universe in the major arcana, right? So it's like powerful energy is to stop and take pause before you don't do the same old. Like take pause before you move forward. Because remember, January 22nd, that's the real new year, you know? But there's the ego, right? I'm stuck. I'm not moving. I'm not moving anywhere. Right? I'm not getting what I want. And life's not going my way. This is stuck. And this is a refusal to grow up. Look at that, right? That's the immaturity. Refusal to take responsibility for your life. Not waiting for maybe a King of Pentacles to come into your life and save you financially, right? That's another way to read this too. And then the spiritual advice, which is funny because it's the Five of Pentacles, like the worst pentacle of all the pentacles, is this is scarcity thinking. So it's telling you to get out of that, get out of scarcity thinking. And this is lack, right? So you can see these two figures here, right? And they're walking by in the snow and they're cold and their heads are down. And what are they not seeing? They're not seeing that there's opportunities there, right? They're not seeing that there's support and help there. And this is fixated on scarcity and lack, right? Like this guy here, the Four of Cups. I'm fixated on what I don't have, right? And that's not going to help with your prosperity, right? Because that's how you see life, and all you're going to see is lack and scarcity. You're not going to see the abundance, right? You're not going to see the abundance. So to me, this reading is very empowering. That's what I see. It's very empowering to the self to get into that King of Pentacles energy, right? All you need to do in this lifetime is to be your authentic self. And out of that comes your purpose, your contribution to the world, to the collective. This is about getting out of survival. This is our ancestors fixated on survival, right? Making really bad choices out of fear, right? This is what this full moon is saying, to move out of that, move out of that. Yeah, and about changing your perspective, right? Changing your perspective. And look at what is working well in your life right now. Get into the gratitude. And maybe it's just a sliver of something. Maybe it's like you got it, your life's so bad right now, and limit it. You got to go to like, I'm breathing. I woke up and I'm still alive. I'm still going. We are getting pressurized big time. All of us right now, right? So this is letting go of the stubborn, rigid thinking. Rigid thinking. Don't go into this. Don't go into this, because this is a pit of despair. Pit of despair. And don't be listening to the BS on the news. The economy and the tanking and all the fear mongering. You go back to like, this is what I do. Okay, I'm in the present moment. Do I have everything that I need right now? Yes, I have food in my fridge. I have a shelter. Right? I've got clothes. I have all these things around me. I'm fine. Right? And things will come to you as needed, as required. It's about trusting that, not getting into fear. Okay. What else do I want to say about that? So yeah, it's expanding your perspective. So that's good. Okay. So the next thing I want to talk about is this, speaking of rhythms, is to go into this. You may have heard of this already, but I'm going to put it in my words. Yeah. Okay, I just want to see what's going on here with people before we get into the... Okay, Vienna. Yeah, it's emotional time, Gabby Stein says. Satnam Kiran. And Kristen, and Tammy, Satnam, Rajmeet Kaur from Greece. Oh, C.A. Patterson, awesome. Okay, C.A. Patterson in Connecticut. Shaima, namaste. You're welcome. Chicago, Thomas, Lily, Satnam from London. Yeah, that's what I've been saying to people. Happy fake New Year. Just to get into the spirit of it. Yeah. Erica, Satnam Ella from Scotland, Luna, Song. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll definitely be doing, because I'm in that 7 of Pentacles energy too, right? Where I'm investing my time. But I'll definitely be doing full moon and new moon live streams. Shimsham from Northern Ireland, Sheikha, Satnam. From North Carolina, that looks like. Christy Wheels, Satnam, Sahaj, ready to begin. Karen has the 53.6. Okay, so the ones that have it are going to relate to this. Yeah. I always felt Chinese New Year was the real one, any connection to human design. I've got to meditate. I have to meditate on that, right? Because... yeah, I'm going to bring that together, because I've got the webinar, the 2023 What's Up Ahead webinar, and that gives us the themes of this year. Open mic in Ibiza. Ibiza, that's like the home of human design. I had a crazy dream, and I knew I was in Ibiza, and I was with Ra Uruhu. That's when the voice came. The whole download of the human design happened in Ibiza. Anyway, I was underground, and I was with him, and all I could see were crystals, these beautiful crystals all over. And that's part of human design, the personality crystal and design crystal. Anyway, human design elder told me that, oh yeah, that was a total visitation from him. Pisces maiden from Cyprus, and Spam, and Sahaj. These are all yes for me under expansion. Rachel Reed. Satnam, Darlene, this is really helpful. Yay. My LW is 53.6. Okay. Okay, that's a good question. It's funny. I felt you, Rachel, when I said that. And Rachel Reed has made a really good point here. So the question is, how would it be possible? How would it be possible to? How is it possible to let emotions guide us? For my angle mine are all over the place and unsure which heartfelt emotion to follow as they change every 4 minutes to the polar opposites. Yeah, that's that emotional wave. And let me just get this up here too, right? So this person's emotionally defined, so it's up and down, up and down, up and down. And this is where you can use your human design strategy and authority. If you've got a colored in solar plexus, that means your authority. So say you're a projector, this person's a projector. They wait to be invited, right, with the yes or no. And then their authority is emotional. So that means there's no truth in the now if you're emotionally, that your authority is emotion, because your wave can be really up. I'm feeling awesome. I'm feeling great. And then it could be really down, like I'm feeling horrible and the world is in despair and the glass is half full. Well, the wave moves and then it comes to a still point like this. And that's when you make your decision with the yes or no, right? So there's no truth in the now for people who are emotional. So keep that in mind. And then just generally speaking, we're going through this solar plexus mutation, but we've got to do this work. We have to do this work, and it's to purify our this is a new awareness system that's coming online, but it's all got gunked up, right, from all the emotional imprinting that we experienced from 0 to 7 years old. It could have just have been like, a parent telling you to shut up. Just shut up, right? Because all the child wants is love and approval and acceptance. That's a block, right? Every time something happens to you, or you're abandoned. The parents, something happened. The parents couldn't pick you up at school, and you're out there waiting for an hour, right? More blocks, more blocks, more blocks, more blocks. Physical abuse, sexual abuse, all of that creates these blocks in the emotional body. So this is what's being purified right now through the solar flares and through the energy changes on the planet. Is all this is coming up, being thrown up up to the surface, so we can feel it, so we can feel these emotional blocks from childhood, the 0 to 7. So once you do that work and just start it. Right? That's what my Phoenix program's all about. Then this gets all cleared up. And then your emotions can really guide you, right? You get to the feeling tone. You're out of the fear, anger, grief. And then because that's all about the past. And then you're in feeling tone. And that's the frequency and the vibration that can really, really guide you. So that's what I would say to you, Rachel, is just to wait. I guess that would be my advice to you, is just to wait and to still, go meditate, be still, be in solitude, right? Long, deep breathing, in prayer, whatever it is what practice you have, and then you just listen, and you'll listen for guidance. But never, ever, ever act from fear or anger or depression or grief. Because the mind just wants you to escape those feelings, to escape that discomfort, right? And it won't be correct for you. If you act from fear, that's what the 53 is about too. If you act from fear, it's just going to create more fear, right? More fearful experiences in your world. That's what I would say. Anything else with that? But I know I get a sense of your question. I hope that makes sense to people. Okay. Yeah. Satnam Larissa, Rebar. Satnam, what was Ra Uruhu's perspective on sidereal astrology and human design? my understanding is that the voice, because that's the voice, the download that he received was tropical. But I know that you can, I've been kind of exploring that myself a little bit with the sidereal astrology, so I can't really make an expert comment on that. All I know is that the voice said to use tropical. The sun sign for my human design readings is the sun sign. Okay. Pisces maiden. Is it true that we choose our parents before birth, Michael? And if yes, how do we choose narc parents? You mean narcissistic parents? Well, it's said that that we choose our mother, right? Is we choose our mother. So 120 days after conception, that's when the soul enters the fetus, and the mother is the most important one, more important than the father. So we pick that lineage, right? That lineage, and a narcissistic mother, because I can speak from experience on that. Was because I have in my astrology, my North Node is in Cancer, so it's all about learning how to nurture myself, and of course I'm doing it, right? I'm sharing. It's all about the emotional body for me in this lifetime. My past life was Capricorn, all about duty, obligation. So there's no room for emotional work for me, or emotions, you know. So of course, I had to choose a mother like the mother I had, a narcissistic mother, is because she was basically saying to me as a soul, you got to look at your mother as a great soul, and you picked her for a reason to learn certain lessons. Her lesson to me was don't look to me as your mother, right? To nurture you. You have to do it yourself. Now, she didn't say that with her words, but her actions and her energy and everything. So so do you see why I would have to pick a mother like that? If I chose a mother that was all smothering and, and doing all that work for me, I'm not going to grow as a soul, right? So to look at it that way, like there's a lesson there, and you got to go deep. Right? Like just go deep into meditation and to ask. I had to do that. Like, why did I choose this mother? Why did I choose this mother? And then the information came to me, and then you can release them, right? Then you can release, and I call them my earthly mother and my earthly father, It's just releasing them from that role. Because really what we're learning with this emotional body work that we're going through, right? This emotional awareness system is not to expect that from other people, right? I'm not going to expect that from my partner to nurture me, to be my mother, or to be my father, right? I have to give that to myself, right? And that's not going to be supported. Like the codependency, that 19, that's going through a huge mutation, right? And that's all about empowering the self. I can do this for myself now. I'm whole unto myself. I'm my own mother. I'm my own father. Okay? So if that makes sense. Okay. So let's go to this this secretion, speaking of expansion. And we'll go. And this ties in with astrology too and human design. And you can look at this there's videos too on the YouTube, more thorough, but I like to keep things simple so that you can understand, right? And practical so that you can use it. So there's a secretion, the special secretion that happens every 29 and a half days, right? For us all. And the secretion starts, and this is all about our ascension. It's all about our ascension, which is interesting. It just occurred to me. I love how the divine works. It's so magical when you start to see the patterns, right? Remember these two are programming partners, the 54 and the 53, right? Expansion. And then the 54 is aspiration. So it's moving from greed to the material, right? Greedy for material things, to aspiring to something greater. So this fits in with the secretion perfectly, right? So this is about our expansion as spiritual beings having human experiences, okay? So the secretion happens in the colostrum first, right, in the brain there. The secretion. And it secretes oil once a month in your body, and the ancients called this Christos. So that's Greek for Christ. Remember the return of Christ consciousness? This is how it happens, this secretion, right? So, and then what it does, this oil, it differentiates. So half of it goes into the pineal gland, and the other half in the pituitary. So the pineal gland is the positive charge, or the masculine energy. This isn't about gender, it's just about energy. And the pituitary is the female, negatively charged, right? So they differentiate this liquid, and then it goes down the Ida and the Pingala, right? The nadis, the nerve channel, they're at the tip. They're connected. They're connected to the Pingala is connected to the pineal, and the Ida is connected to the pituitary. So then they make their way down, and then they come into the solar plexus. When I saw that, it's like, oh my God, how all these paths are converging, right? This is the synergy of the Aquarian age, the synthesis of the Aquarian age, right? Everything coming together, right? So it lands in the solar plexus, that liquid, right? From the pituitary and the pineal. And then they have a conception. A conception happens with these two liquids, right? Right? And then they create a seed. You can call it a seed, right? You call it a seed. And so what happens there, it gets charged by the solar energy. This is the sun, right? This is the as above, so below. What we see out here is all a reflection of what's going on inside of us, and the solar plexus is our sun, right? It's our sun, solar sun. And I've talked a lot about the solar plexus, and it's going through a mutation, which I'll get into in a second. So then it comes out of the solar plexus. It's been charged. It's in this little manger, right? It's Bethlehem. It's Bethlehem, which means bread. In the Bible, it talks about man can't live on bread alone, right? And that means the seed. This is what's feeding us spiritually. It's nurturing us spiritually. So what happens with the seed now, it moves out of the solar plexus, and it can go one of two ways, right? So it can go down through the lower chakras, right? The lower chakras. And this is where it's wasted. That seed, it gets wasted, and these are the 5 thieves. This is all about desire and gluttony and greed and, right, all the ego stuff. Or I think I talked about this, yeah. Wasted, like low vibration, like being in low vibration, being in victim, negative thinking. Also your emotional environment. That's why doing this emotional purification work is really important. So you're not in this, because you're swimming in this energy. If you've got unresolved anger, unresolved depression and fear and grief, that's going to kill this seed, right? This seed. Right, the unprocessed anger, fear, grief in the emotional body. Alcohol dissolves that oil, separates that oil. Lustful sex, some unconscious sex. This includes masturbation too, that's unconscious. Overeating, GMO food, EMF radiation, all that. Fluoride in the water, all that stuff's going to kill that seed. So you can see how our world is against this, right? Against our ascension. That's why there's so very few people that truly ascend and become masters. So what really struck me is that Bible is about the mastery of the self. This comes from the teachings of the Essenes, right? It's really about mastery of the body and this lower self. Remember, in Kundalini Yoga, we've got an animal self, the human, and then the angelic self. We want to move more and more away from the animal self, right? So, so this is 2.5 days, right? This whole process happens in 2.5 days. So it's really about keeping your vibration high during these 2.5 days, you know? And so then what happens is ascension. That seed ascends back up, and then it's deposited into the pineal gland. And this is the oil that lights the lamp. The two eyes become one, right? And then the body lights up, is illuminated. And this in turn optimizes our physical health, right? It's our spiritual development. This is part of our spiritual development process. And it starts at 12 years old, right? And it moves from there. And it made me think of this, you know, I can't say it, but because I think but you know what I'm talking about, with children, the attack on children, like sexual attack on children. It's always around this age, and it's all about stopping this process, right? This ascension of humanity. So back to the pineal gland, illuminates, right? Illuminates the pineal gland. This is like connected to the cosmic forces, evolving, becoming your spiritual adult. So that's the true alchemy that's happening. So how you know, and it's only 2.5 days. Maybe you're like, I can't do this all the time. This is crazy, right? But do it 2.5 days, because what happens is when you do this, that secretion gets more and more refined, and it gets stronger and more powerful, right? You become the lotus, right? Above, right? Of the world, right? But not in the world. That's what this is gonna help with your spiritual development. So there's lots of gifts that come with this. So 2.5 days. So you've got to look at when the moon, right? The moon is in Gemini right now. It's coming out of Gemini. When the moon is in your sun sign, right? So it just came out of Taurus. I'm a Taurus sun, right? So the moon was in Taurus. So that's my days of the secretion. And I really kind of kept to myself, went into solitude, very vigilant with my thoughts and my emotions and the food that I was eating, like eating light, right? So anyone can commit to 2.5 days. And I had crazy experiences, which I'll share maybe in another video, right, with this. So you can go to Deluxe Moon. I think it's deluxemoon.com, and that will give you when the moon is in your sign, because it's going to be in Cancer, clearly, right? It's the full moon. So if you've got a Cancer sun, this is going to be your time coming up for 2.5 days. But I'll put the link in the information box so that you can look at that. So that we're all, and this is to help us, right? And this is the true temple. I think this is what Uranus and Taurus is teaching us, right? This true temple is our body. It's our body. And our bodies are sacred. And there's an attack on our bodies right now. Yeah. So moon in the sun sign, love, heart, light. Yeah. Yeah. Trying to quit alcohol. And look how prevalent alcohol is. You know, you can buy alcohol pretty much in the States, like 7 days a week, right? Easily. And that was the thing that they kept open during the lockdown. They kept the booze stores open, right? Killing the seed. Yeah. Okay. So that's what I wanted to share. And I don't know if anybody has any more questions about that, but the ancient yogis talked about the pineal gland was the seat of the soul. So that makes sense, right? And it's got a little lens up top, right? It's got like a little lens. So this is the opening of the third eye. Yeah. So it's really a time to get aligned with our natural rhythms. Yeah. See, people, I love this. How we're all connected, you know? It's like the lunar calendar. People have been emailing me about that. I've been thinking about this for a long time. I'm ready to let go of this artificial world. Yeah. So yeah, ready to raise the seed. And to comment on that too, if you've already gone through the process. Because I had to get books. I ordered these books that were written over 100 years ago now, right? To learn more about it. Yeah. It's been hidden from us. And remember, all this secret knowledge now it can't be hidden. Can't be hidden in the Aquarian age. Yeah. Okay. So before I log off here, remember the 64% off the Phoenix programs. Really, really affordable. Turns out to like 144, right? For 6 modules. And this is the emotional shadow purification work. And my intention with this is like, this is the program I want to direct people to that want help. As more and more people come to me for help, this is where you want to go. It's the emotional inner child work, the shadow purification work. It's like real tools that I've used myself. You know, I've been at this since I was 18 years old, doing inner child work, right? Way back in the day. And I went down lots of dead end roads. So these are not the dead end roads. These are the tools that really, really work. And it's taken me a long time to accumulate what works and what doesn't. Right? So it's really doable and it's practical and it's going to grow corn. It's going to grow corn. It's going to grow fruit. So keep that in mind. Okay. Lots of teachings about this cross of the sleeping phoenix and the Aquarian age and why we need to do this work. Yeah. And also my 2023 webinar, and that's going to be on Sunday live. And that's going to, we'll look at we'll look back at 2022 and the themes, and then we'll look at the themes that are coming up. Okay? So leave your comments below if you feel called, and anything else that you want to share. Okay? So, yeah. Just to trust. That's my message, is we need to trust the divine, right? Just with this information coming to me, it was like miracles almost. Like, oh, this came to me. I don't know how this information came to me. Here it is. It's in my face. So just to trust that we're being supported right now, right? It's all about loving yourself. It's about being your authentic self and committing to that, right? Committing to that. Not go into fear, not go into anger, right? Not live there. They're like tourists, right? These emotions, just let them move through you, right? And come more and more into your true nature, which is peace. That's your true nature. Okay? So have a great day or evening wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you next video. Okay. Satnam Aloha, everybody.